as I've done this work and I've come around into who I am as Whitney, as a woman, as someone who is spiritual and lives a spiritually connected, holistic life, what this is like. I think um this has just been such an amazing season of my life to come into full freedom. And when I was home, I was just realizing how not free I was. And I realized, like, from 11, from puberty, like, I was never allowed to grow into my womanhood. When I look at the journey, I can see how this was formed, like, why I believed what I believed, and that it wasn't just what I was taught, it was also my experience as I was coming into my, developing into my womanhood, and what it was told to me that being a woman was, and that I would have a husband, that I would have kids. And here I am, and I haven't experienced any of those things. And yet I am holding on for dear life, watching all the other girls in church get boyfriends and then get married, a year later and then have kids. And I was so happy to see that. Like, I had no resentment towards anyone. I just was kind of like, well, what am I doing wrong? Because I know that she's not a virgin, because everybody knows she's not a virgin, yet she found this amazing guy who I also have known for longer than she knew him. But they connected and they fell in love, and here they are, married and having kids. Why is that not happening for me? Like, what is wrong with me? It led me to that place of, I must not be enough. And so that was like the burden that I was under, that pressure of, like, I gotta find what's wrong with me. And I'm doing everything by the book, and yet I'm not experiencing all the promises that I was promised. So what is a hidden, I thought I had a hidden sin, you know? I thought there was something hidden. I must have, something in my heart that's impure. Because everything else about me is goddamn pure. So what else is, hidden inside of me? Maybe, we're told as Christians that you are born a sinner. So I was like, well, gosh, then maybe I need more prayer. I need some of these intercessors, these prayer people, these people that have prophetic, what we know in spirituality as psychic gifts. Maybe they can look in and tell me what is impure of my heart, what's wrong with me. And I mean, bless them. Anyone I came to that I was like, I think I have a hidden sin. I have something in my heart that is evil, because, like, nothing is working out in my life. What is it, in me that is wrong? And so just all of that to say, like, this pressure to look back at where I am now, from where I am now to where I was then, guys, I got totally, like, heartsick over it. Like, the regret, the wave of regret that I felt, the wave of guilt for staying in that mindset and living from that place was overwhelming. So overwhelming that on my way driving back from meeting up with a friend, it was hitting me so hard, back in California over the Thanksgiving break. And it was hitting me so hard. And it was the day before Thanksgiving, it was Wednesday. And I was just losing my shit in the car. I was crying so hard because I just was like, I felt this pressure. I kind of even feel it now, just manifesting, because it's so heavy of a burden. Just even bringing it up, it's like, man, I used to feel this all the time. I used to live from that place. God, like, I didn't know what it was to be me, to be a woman, to be free, within my own self. Like, it doesn't even have to deal with, like, having sex and not being a virgin. It goes so beyond that. It's my identity. It's who I am. It's how I view myself, my purpose, my life, why things haven't happened the way that I thought they were going to happen, or what was promised to me that they were going to happen. Like, even like the little bedtime stories my mom would tell me of, the things she hoped for me in my life. It's like none of that has happened. And so to feel like a complete failure, and to now at 35 see my journey and go, gosh, everything is perfect. Everything was meant to happen how it's happened. And I'm actually so grateful that I didn't get married, and that I didn't have kids, and that I didn't parent from that perspective. God, like, I would have just shackled someone else in those beliefs and in those limitations, and my perspective on us and how we're meant to live. Thank God it didn't play out the way I was told it was going to play out. Thank God I wasn't a virgin bride. And that all those things, that I was taught actualized, that would have cemented it in me. And I would have been like, this is the only way, and if I had had a daughter, I would have been literally instructing her in the same way. So thank God I'm not passing that on, right? Um, to anyone else. If anything, I'm speaking the opposite of like, hey, you are free. You're free to be you, free in whatever expression that expresses as. And, as long as it is not hurtful, harmful to anyone else, as long as your expression, it still values human life and the soul journey and the human journey, right? um do you, boo. It's like that's what life is meant to be. It's meant to be your individual expression, your individual journey. Your individual journey is sacred. um and it's funny because every winter, I can't help myself, every winter, and it's been even better since I moved to Denver, but every time winter comes around, I always rewatch like the entire all seasons of Game of Thrones. I don't know why. It's the whole winter is coming. I can't help it. I just also love Game of Thrones and all the things, all the constructs, and I always see something new every year that I rewatch the whole series. But one thing that struck me, I literally just ended, the last episode of season 8 last night. And one thing that struck me is Jon Snow at the end, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it, looks at his younger brother, who Bran, thank you. I was like, oh God, I'm forgetting his name. Bran, Bran the Broken. He looks at his brother who has just been crowned king, and he goes, I'm sorry I wasn't there when you needed me. He just like feels all this guilt of like, you're wheelchair bound, I'm sorry I wasn't there when you needed me. And Bran looks at him in his wisdom as a three-eyed raven and goes, you were exactly where you were supposed to be. And that just kind of hit me in my preparations for this two-part series. It hit me really hard because I've been still reflecting and releasing and letting go of this guilt. I think it's a process, and I felt like spirit just kind of spoke to me through that and was like, Wit, you were right where you were supposed to be all throughout your journey. Like, none of this is a fuck up. None of this is a failure. None of this is a mistake, because I still am such a perfectionist, so black and white, that I look back, and the reason why regret is so hard to let go of is because we see those moments in our journey, in our life, as failures, as mistakes, as missed opportunities. And so when we look back and we have guilt or we have shame or we have regret, it may have been a decision that was not in your, that was not aligned with your highest truth or your highest, identity as a sovereign divine, being. It may not have been in alignment with your higher self or love, or, but that is part of your experience of defining what that looks like for you. If you don't experience what something isn't, it's really hard to just concretely, specifically know what does my truth actually feel like. You don't know what truth feels like and true alignment, authenticity feels like, until you slip out of authenticity and out of alignment and you go, oh, that doesn't feel good. And you come right back to, where is your true north? What is your flight path for your life? Like, that is how we navigate. That's part of our soul journey. Is you get burned here, you move in, you move back into alignment. You slip here and it's gross and yucky and it sucks. Well, what do? You move back into alignment. Like, we navigate our life and our truth and our authenticity, our purpose. We pursue our purpose this way, our destiny, our calling. We pursue relationships this way. God, you get in a relationship that is completely unhealthy, you get love bombed, you're blinded by love and by all the euphoria of like an amazing connection with somebody, and you realize this person had like little to no character or integrity. They cheated on you, they lied to you, they stole from you. And you go back and you go, gosh, I'm not going to do that again. Next time, I'm really going to take the time to vet somebody and to see see someone's true colors, their true character and who they are once things settle down. Once the excitement wears off and the euphoria of this love bliss, this chemical reaction that's happening from an amazing connection, a soul connection. It doesn't mean that that was never meant to happen or never meant to be experienced. Maybe it was. Maybe that's part of your journey, right? So when I when I heard that yesterday, and it's, basically one of the final things, that's like, whoa, said, because you just watch everyone kind of go on their journeys after that. It just really hit me. I was where I was supposed to be. I experienced what I was meant to experience. I was right where I was supposed to be throughout my entire journey. And so I just want to encourage you with that. If you're struggling with guilt, if you're struggling with, regret, shame of any kind around your journey and what your process has been, see it with a new lens of it's not a failure, it's a journey. And so part of your journey is navigating and experiencing unpleasant things, unpleasant experiences, because we all are navigating. So no one is perfectly living in true authenticity and alignment all the time. Not me, not you, not them. We are all navigating what this is. And we are all also in that place of choosing who we want to be, how we want to live our life, what we want to do with it, how we want to spend our days. And all of us are either living with that intention or we're kind of living disconnected, not intentional with how we live our days, how we wake up, how we go to bed, and everything in between. So it's important to understand, like, this is a journey. This is a journey. This is not a right or wrong necessarily. This is not a fail, succeed, and one failure is standing for the rest of your life, marking you as imperfect, spotted bride. This is a journey where we are navigating, and all of it is meant to be relevant to who we are becoming. And we can look back and have that discernment and have that wisdom from past experiences, even recent ones. And we can look on our present and where we want to go and see what is supportive of the future, what is supportive of what I want to experience and manifest in my life and become. Like, is this in alignment? Is this supportive? No. Yes. You then keep it or you dump it. And so that's why I think regret, shame, guilt is coming up in the collective, because this is the last step, I think, in fully shedding an old identity, in how we even view our past and view our journey, and why we've experienced what we've experienced now, why we are, in the middle of a separation or divorce, why we are in the middle of a failed business or struggling financially, and yet you have kids and you have a home and all of that, right? I think that it's really important to see this as a journey, that has multiple pit stops and destinations. It's really important to see that and to live from that place of, this is a journey, this is a temporary pit stop. You may be single and 35 just like me, but have had 2 marriages and have 4 kids, and stepkids from those marriages, and you're going, what is my life? What the heck do I do with my life now? How do I rebuild? Where do I go from here? So we all are different. We all have different journeys, and I can't necessarily go through every single one of your journeys and explain it out. But I think what is the little golden nugget is to realize that our journeys are sacred, sovereign journeys. A lot of it we choose, a lot of it I think is spontaneously experienced. And so it is helpful to look back and see the journey and not see it as a success or failure, but rather see it as, I've been right where I was meant to be the whole time. And as many soul journeys, incarnations as you're going to have, you're always going to be right where you're meant to be. But you still have that freedom to choose where you want to be now and where you want to be in the future. And now, given all the experience that you have, all the perspective, all the wisdom, all the discernment, how now are you going to make your decisions? From what place are you going to make your decisions from? From what place are you going to have the perspective of your life and what is possible for you? Are you going to keep the same limitations, restrictions, or are you going to have a new mindset going forward? What do you choose to believe about yourself? What do you choose to believe about your destiny? What do you choose to believe about what it is that you can manifest into your life and experience in your life? Because whatever you believe will happen. And that's something that I'm realizing is, and that I really am releasing guilt and regret over, is I believed that it was not going to work out for me because there was something wrong with me. There's something that's not enough, something that's wrong. And so because I believed that, what happened? I ended up manifesting that. So it's not impossible. It's not like I'm never going to, get married or never going to be in a happy, healthy relationship. No, 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 no. Not saying that. But over the years, I've ended up manifesting exactly what I believed because I came to the conclusion on my own that something must be wrong with me because of the belief system that I was under. That was the logical conclusion. I mean, it was like, this is a no-brainer. There must be something wrong. There must be, because it doesn't make sense otherwise. And so I just want to encourage you guys, like, especially also the condemnation that we can place ourselves under. And I know that's like a Christian term, but the shame, the blaming that we can put on ourselves and be so hard on ourselves is another way that shackles you from being able to move forward. And so I just want to encourage you too, that do not be so hard on yourself. Like, the belief system, the construct, whatever it was that you grew up under, that that greatly influences us, whether it's your conscious or subconscious. So I think it's really good to look at it and say, look, I did the best. At least I did the best that I could, and at least I was living from what I thought was truth, at the time. Like, this was my truth, and at least I gave it everything. Like, that's for me what has kind of set me free from the guilt and the shame and the regret, is that I'm like, hey, but you know what? I have an amazing quality. And you know what that is? I am loyal. And if I think that something is true, I live from such a place of just like outrageous integrity with what I believe is true. And I live in integrity to the best of my ability in whatever belief I live in. So if that is a limiting belief, like, I'm all in, on that limiting belief. And so, but if it's a belief that is free, that is more free, that has more, or sorry, that has less restrictions, then I am still living from a place of just total integrity in that. So I got to be really careful what I believe, because I am all in. I'm an all or nothing personality, always have been. So that's something that I have had to go, okay, well, at least that's something that I can be proud of, that I did it, and I like lived that to the best of my ability, that lifestyle, and under that belief system. And so that's something I can walk away with, because at least I know I have some character and some backbone, that even through temptation and whatnot, like, I can live from a place of internal and external integrity, whether people know it or don't know it. So I think it's good to look back on your life, and you know um how you view yourself. And it's good to pick out the things, the attributes, the qualities of who you are and your character, that you can say, hey, at least I have this. Like, I can see that this is good, that this actually serves me in the future, and that it's something that I can be proud of. Because a lot of times when we struggle with guilt and shame and regret, we're not proud. We're not proud of our choices. We're not proud of ourselves. We're not proud of how our life has gone. We feel, like we failed. And so, failed ourselves, failed other people. And so I think it's good to see, what are the qualities that are helpful to you, that are supportive, that you can be proud of, and hang on to that, bring that into the future. And then from that place go, okay, so what is supportive, what is not supportive, where do I want to go in my life, what do I want to do, And how can I take these things, these golden little nuggets from my past mistakes and successes, failures and successes, and how can I move forward? Cool. Well, this is how I'm going to move forward. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. I hope that this has been an episode that can really champion you, because those are some of my takeaways. You were right where you were supposed to be, and you at least have lived with, if it's integrity or character, or you've lived from just such a place of like love and open heartedness and vulnerability, and maybe that got taken advantage of. At least you live from a place of love and vulnerability. At least you have joy consistently, even in the midst of suffering and pain. At least you don't mistreat others, even though you're being mistreated, right? Like there's so many different qualities that we all have. And so for you to be able to see who it is that you are at the core of who you are, no matter what you believe, no matter what you've experienced, I think taking those away with you for your present and for your future, I think is key to releasing the regret. I think a lot of it too is I've forgiven myself for staying in that lifestyle and that belief system for as long as I did. I was doing my best and I was living from a place of also fear. But I think that's been part of the regret, is that I didn't get out sooner, because maybe I missed the person that I was meant to be with. But also, that's just a belief. And maybe I'm actually saved from being in a relationship with a guy that is not willing to see anything that I see now at 35. It's like I feel so much gratitude for the fact that I am still single, and I am not locked in with somebody that is not willing to see the things that I see, that I would maybe grow out of love with, or grow out of alignment with. And thank God I didn't have kids, and I didn't pass on these limiting beliefs that I had about what it is to be a woman, or a Christian woman. So there's just a lot of things that I personally am taking away, that I know that you could also, whatever your experiences have been, whatever the story has been for you, and your experiences have been for you, you can take away what is your truth and what you're grateful for. And I think gratitude for the things that you have experienced that have been positive or have given you that wisdom and discernment, that is another way that you release regret, shame, guilt, all of that for your past, and where you used to be, where you aren't now, or where you want to be. But I just want to encourage you to release that. It does not serve you in the future. It's not going to motivate you. It's going to die out. Like that, regret, guilt is not a motivator. So I just want to encourage you to release this as it comes up, even old past memories. You don't have to relive everything. Just say, cool, thank you for bringing that up, spirit, God, source, universe. I'm going to release that. Since I don't have good feelings around that memory or that experience, I'm releasing that, so that it no longer holds me back or weighs me down. Anything that's dead weight, unsupportive, not in alignment, not authentic to me and who I want to be, I'm releasing. And so I just want to encourage you guys to see that. Just be aware of everything that's coming up in this as we close out 2022. Just be aware of it. See it for what it is. It's not meant to drag you down. It's not meant to burden you. It's coming up for a reason, and that's to be released, to be shifted, to have truth, or forgiveness or gratitude placed over that, for it to be redeemed in that sense. And so I just want to encourage you guys with that. So love to you. Have a wonderful holiday season. I know it's not easy all the time being with family. For some of us, it's amazing. For some of us, it's really difficult. But I wish you all the best as you close out 2022. Thank you so much for being a listener on this podcast. I cannot believe that we're closing out year 2 and about to enter year 3 of the podcast. Nuts. I can't believe it. And I just am so grateful for you as my listeners, subscribers. Please pass on any episodes that you think are helpful to any of your friends or family. Let's spread the love, bring up the vibe, and go into 2023 in a more freedom, less restrictions, less limitations. Let's go into 2023 together, free. Love to you guys.